Welcome everyone. Today's topic is getting started with Canvas Studio. This is a webinar brought to you by the VCCS ELET committee, which consists of instructional designers, technologists, and other LMS administrators from across the state of Virginia. Let's dive in. I'm Gannon Nordberg, the instructional technologist at LFCC. I'm joined today by Dr. Erin Mills, who's the instructional designer here at LFCC. She will be monitoring the Zoom chat and help facilitating that and answering questions that you have along the way. And there's also some other VCCS champions in the ELET committee that I also see in the participants list, so they'll also be chiming in when they can. Some quick housekeeping here before we get started. This webinar is being recorded, so you don't need to take a whole bunch of notes if you don't need to. We've got a bunch of resources that we're going to share afterwards. All of the recordings of these webinars are on the EdTech website, which is on your screen here, edtech.vccs.edu/webinars. And those recordings are usually posted in about 48 hours after the live webinar itself. To streamline the Q&A, we aren't going to use the Zoom chat today, but rather please put all your questions in the following parking lot document so that we can track who you are and the email address if we can follow up on any questions or items that need addressed there if necessary. Erin or one of the other ELET folks will put that link into the Zoom chat so that you can bring it up during the session and then put your questions there. We have an exciting session for you today, and we're going to go over the following topics. First up is what is Canvas Studio, give you a little bit of background information. We'll go over how to record a screen capture recording and what that looks like. We'll look at how to record a webcam capture, how to upload media files from your computer, how to add in a YouTube URL, add captions to a video, and then taking those pieces of capture and embedding them into the rich content editor inside a course. We'll look at gathering data and analytics on who is watching your videos and for how long. And then we'll also talk about some examples of how to use Studio inside of Canvas itself. In addition to sharing the recording of this session, we'll also share the slide deck with a bunch of Studio resources embedded in it so that you can follow up on any sections that you may want to review. All right, so if you're not familiar with what Studio is, the folks at Canvas define it as an online media platform that allows users to create, manage, and deliver impactful and effective classroom learning. I will second that. I think that sums it up pretty well. Technically, it is an external tool that's embedded into the VCCS instance of Canvas, and it's available to every user in the VCCS. So staff, faculty, students, administrators, everybody. And I'm, for one, very thankful to have access to it because not all of Canvas's customers have it built into their system. So hopefully you'll see the value as we go through some things today. How do you find it in Canvas? The first way to find it is it's one of the items in the left global navigation menu. It's in between the Commons and Help in the left navigation menu. So that's one place you can find it. The other place you can find it is it's embedded by default inside the rich content editor. So when you're looking at an announcement, a quiz, an assignment, a discussion, or a page, and you're editing any one of those items, you'll see the Studio icon show up right here, and you can access it right from there. And we'll take a look at how you can use that specifically a little bit later on. So we're going to start by looking at recording a screen capture, which is one of the most common features of using Studio and arguably one of the tentpole features of the tool itself. So after logging into Canvas, you can start by clicking on the Studio navigation item off to the left. And then once you are on the Studio library page, you'll see a few buttons in the upper right hand of the page. So the first is a record button. And after you click on that, you'll see two different options. You'll see a screen capture recording, which we're going to look at right now, and then a webcam option, which we'll look at shortly. If you're doing a screen capture for the first time, you'll be prompted to download the screen capture application. You'll only be prompted to do this once on each computer that you're doing a screen capture recording on, and it only takes a moment to download it and install it. But to get started, you just follow the prompts that are on screen and click the little download button in the corner to get started. After clicking on the download button, you'll see the screen recording installer file at the bottom of your browser. In this case, this is Google Chrome, so it has it right down there in the corner. And then to launch it, you just click on it, and that will open up the installer. To install the screen recorder application, just follow the prompts. It's just a couple of clicks to walk through the setup. And then once you have it installed, you'll see a message that the screen recorder is ready. And now it's sending you back to your web browser to start a new recording. So once again, back from the Studio Library page, if you click on the record button and once more click on screen capture, that will look at your computer. And since we just installed the Studio Recorder application, you'll see a message like this in your browser. The web browser is asking you if you want to open up the screen recording application. And of course you can say, yes, that's fine, because that's the whole point of what we're trying to do. There is also a checkbox here that says always allowed VCCS instruction media, which is technically the URL behind the Canvas Studio tool itself. But it says, do you want to open links like this in the screen recorder application all the time? So if you want to save a click, you can click on this checkbox. And then next time when you click the screen capture tool in the future, it will just open up the screen capture tool automatically. After the screen recorder launches, you'll see a black and white box around the content that will be recorded. So I have that layered right here, and there's a couple points I wanted to point out. You can select to record the screen only, the webcam only, or both. And we'll look at what both of those options look like in a moment. You can also select the recording window size. So, and our recommendation is to preserve the aspect ratio, which is the height and the width of the recording window. We recommend keeping one of the default values if possible. So there's a couple defaults here that you can choose from: 480, 720, 1080p, or the full screen view. If you're not doing a full screen, then you may need to resize the window of the content that you're going to record so that it fits inside the black and white recording box itself. And this is what I mean by the black and white recording box. So the value that I have selected here is 720p. And if I was recording something, a document or something in my browser, I would want to overlap this black and white striped box to fit over top of the content that I'm recording into. That way, it's going to be sure to be captured. Whenever you're ready to start recording, you can click the red recording button down here in the corner, and it will do a little countdown and let you know that the recording has started. In the example on the screen, you can see the option to record both the webcam and the screen capture. There's also an option to select your microphone that you want to record with. Most computers have a built-in microphone, but it may be helpful to use an external USB headset with a built-in microphone. That way you'll get some better audio quality than the built-in microphone that's on your computer. You can see down here in the corner, this is the thumbnail of the webcam that it's also recording alongside my screen capture recording. So that's how you can see what the both option looks like. And then again, this black and white recording window is shown around the edges of the content that's going to be recorded. A great use of a screen capture recording is to give your students a tour of your Canvas course, to show them where to find information to get started in the course, like the syllabus and the schedule and any other supporting information. Even a few-minute recording can go a long way to help onboard your students to your course. The course tour video can then be shared in a Canvas announcement, posted into the homepage or inside the first learning module. Another great example of a screen capture recording is to go over the contents of the syllabus and the schedule. This will give you an opportunity to highlight some important aspects about your course that you don't want students to overlook. Since a screen capture recording can record essentially anything displayed on your computer screen, you can open up a PDF, a Word document, a web page, or just about anything else on your computer. So what I have here on screen is a built-in or an embedded PDF onto a Canvas page, and I can scroll through my PDF, and because I have the recording window, this black and white box surrounding my web browser, anything that I show on the main window will be captured and recorded into the recording that I can share later. Another example, and probably the most popular, is to record a slide deck in Microsoft PowerPoint or Google Slides. In the example on the screen, the webcam and the screen are both being recorded, and the screen recording size is set to full screen with the slide deck in the presenter mode. Once you have the recording layout set just the way you want, you can click on the record button down here in the corner, and that will do the countdown and start recording. So the steps for that process are: open up your PowerPoint presentation into, just open it into the editing mode, and then launch a new screen capture recording in Studio. And then once you see the black and white striped box show up, then you can select the screen size, which would be full screen if you're kind of record your PowerPoint in full screen mode. And then from your PowerPoint file, you take it into full screen, and that way it will capture everything that's showing up on screen. After you're done recording, you'll see the preview screen. So there's a playback scrubber at the bottom. You can watch the recording in its entirety and also see the audio wavelengths captured in the playback bar at the bottom. That way you know your microphone was working while you were recording. You can give a title for your recording. You can enter a description. These two pieces will be uploaded along with the recording into the Studio library. So it may make sense to title your recordings to the course or the topic that you're recording about. And then you have some editing controls down here. If you click on edit, you'll have the ability to make some basic edits, which we'll look at in just a moment. And then when you're finished editing and entering the metadata for the recording, you can click the upload button, and that will add it to your Studio library. This is what the edit screen looks like. So from here, there's an option to use several of the editing tools, which is in a menu right here. And you can cut some of the video clips. If you have some silence in the middle or somewhere at the beginning or the end, you can trim and cut those pieces out. You can hide part of a clip. You can insert a new clip inside it. You can narrate over top of your recording. You can overlay text and annotations. You can speed it up and slow it down. You can add a transition. You can adjust the volume. There's a lot of neat options there that if you really want to get fancy with your recording and make it look polished and professional, you have those tools there for you. You can also choose to show the mouse cursor and the webcam from this view. You can even change the color of the mouse cursor. If you want to put a little circle around it, you can kind of see it here. It's kind of a dark blue on screen, but you can change that to a different color to draw attention to where the mouse is in their screen recording. And then after you're done making edits, you can play back the recording from start to finish again to make sure your edits look good, and then click done once you are finished making any edits. One other thing about the edits, you only have the ability to make edits to your Studio recording at this point. After it's been uploaded to Studio, you lose the ability to make further edits. So this is your one shot to make those edits on the recording. After clicking the upload button, you'll see a progress bar as the media uploads to Studio. Keep in mind the upload and the processing times are dependent on the video length and your device's internet connection. So if you're recording a long video, it may take much longer than a short one, which is kind of common sense. But also having a strong, reliable internet connection is also good here, because any interruption in this processing and upload may also terminate and disrupt the upload process from your computer to the Studio library. After a successful upload, you can click on the Continue button. And then the uploaded studio media is now on your library page. You can click on the options menu, which is indicated by the 3 vertical dots right here, and that will let you set options for creating a video quiz. You can get a public shareable link to the media. You can move it into a collection or a folder. You can replace the thumbnail image that it chooses as the background on the library page, and you can also delete it from here. If you click on the view option, view button over top of the media, it'll show the playback window with additional options, and we're going to take a closer look at that shortly. So I have an activity for you here. For the first one tonight, I'd like you to download and install the screen recording application that's required to do a screen capture recording. So just as a quick recap, after logging into Canvas, click on Studio in the left global navigation menu, click on the record button in the upper right, and then choose screen capture, and then just follow the prompts to download and install the screen recording application. So I'm going to start a 3-minute timer right now. That might be too much time for you, but I know this is kind of the first sticking point that some of us run into when we're trying to set up a screen capture recording, and I wanted to make sure that we all had that straightened out during the session tonight so that when you leave here, you've at least got that part set up. To exit full screen in Zoom, you can press the escape key on your keyboard, and that will take you out of the full screen mode so that you can open up a new web browser tab and log into Canvas and complete your activity. If you have any questions along the way, please use the parking lot document to handle those. We'll make sure that you have another reminder to that link in the chat, and I will check in with you in 3 minutes. Okay, that is the end of our 3-minute timer. I hope you had a chance to get that screen recorder installed. And that way, the next time you go to do a screen recording, you'll be ready to go with that part. And if you didn't have enough time, that's okay. We'll make sure that you've got a resource at the end that you can do it again on your own time. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is how to record a webcam capture. So from the Studio Library screen, again, click on the record button along the top, and then this time we're going to choose webcam capture from the list of options. On the next screen, you may get a notification in your web browser if you want to allow Canvas or Studio access to your computer's microphone and webcam. Obviously, that's the whole point of what we're trying to do, so you can click yes or allow. The first step is to select the microphone that you want to use. Like I said, most computers have a built-in mic, but it may also be helpful to use a USB headset with a microphone right next to your mouth so that you have better audio from your microphone and included into your recording. It also helps isolate some background noise and things like that that you may have around you. Then the next step is to pick your webcam. So there's a button here. If your computer has a built-in webcam, it will pick that one by default. If you have another webcam available to you, you can pick that from the list if you like. And then right there in the middle is a button to start the recording, which will do a countdown before the recording starts. And it also shows you a nice preview of what your video is going to look like, so that if you have objects around you that you may not want to include in your webcam capture, or you need to turn on a lamp or close a window shade, you can make those adjustments before you start recording. While you're recording, you'll see a running timer over here in the corner. You'll see an option to start over if you're like me and do lots of different takes for a recording because you flubbed something up. You know, that's okay. We're all human. It happens. But you have an option there to start over if you missed something that you wanted to highlight. And after you're done recording, you just click the finish button in the middle, and that will stop the recording. After stopping the recording, you can play it back and watch the whole thing to see if you've conveyed what you were hoping to convey in your recording. You can also start over if you realize that you didn't like what you saw there or you wanted to do another take. There's also a place to enter a title for the webcam recording, and then when you're ready, you can click save, and that will save it to your Studio library. After uploading the webcam recording, you will see it in your library. And you'll see the thumbnail show up there by default. If it's maybe an unflattering thumbnail that you want to substitute it with something else, there is an option to do that underneath the options menu here. If you hover your mouse over top of the media, you'll see a view item that will show up. And when you click on that, you can make adjustments to additional settings. And we're going to take a look at that part next. So on the media playback screen, you've got the media player right here, again, where you can play it from start to finish. You have some controls over here on the side where you can share the media. You can download the media file to your computer. You can delete it right from here. But there's also a place underneath this details tab where you can edit the details of the recording. From the edit details screen, you can edit the title of the video, or you can enter a description about what the video is covering, and then there's an option over here where you can enter a tag that can help you organize it later, and then when you're finished with those changes, you just click the save button in the corner. Okay, so I know we just had an activity, but we've got another one right here. What I'd like you to do now is to record a 10-second webcam capture to your Studio library. So as a recap, navigate to the Studio item in the left global navigation item, click the record button in the upper right, and then choose webcam capture. You can record anything you like. You just keep it pretty short and sweet, about 10 seconds or so. You can record something silly like my example on the screen here, or you can talk to yourself for 10 seconds. That's okay. No one will ever see this anyway. So what I'm going to do is start a 3-minute timer. Again, to exit the full screen display of Zoom, you can click the escape key. And if you have questions, please put them in our parking lot document so that we can assist you better from there. Okay, here is the 3-minute timer.
Hi, this is a video of me doing a webcam capture video.
Okay, another 3 minutes has passed, so that means we will move on to the next part. I hope you had a chance to record a quick webcam capture, and we can actually use this for our next activity to build on it. All right, next up, we're going to look at how to add media files from your computer. So from the Studio Library page, click on the Add button in the upper right, and a new window will show up with an option to drag and drop media files from your computer, or you can click on the Browse Files button to locate them on your computer. So this is if you have other video or multimedia files stored on your computer that don't exist anywhere else, and you'd like to bring those into Studio. That's what this is used for. So the first step after you click on that Browse Files button is to locate where the media lives on your computer. So navigate your file system and find your video recording or other piece of media, and then you click on Open, and that will upload it to your Studio page. And this is what it looks like after it's been uploaded and added to Studio. It picks a thumbnail from the media to use as the thumbnail, and it gives you a little timeline here about how long the video is with the name of the file showing up right here. So if you want to rename your file before you upload it to Studio, you can do that, or you can always go into the Options menu and edit the title and description there. So that was kind of short and sweet. The other thing that we're going to look at is how to add a YouTube URL and use that inside of Studio. So if you think about browsing something on YouTube, on the web, the YouTube algorithms try to suggest relevant videos that show up on the right-hand side under what's up next. And often when you finish a video, they will just start automatically playing through those, whether you want them to or not. They automatically start to play. But these videos are often unrelated and sometimes kind of borderline sketchy, and you may not want to see those there. Also below the video player itself, you've got some information about the author of the video or the publisher, but also there may be a big long string of comments from other people on the internet. Of course, we have no control over what people say, and some of them are kind of just distracting and noisy. And this just may not be a very pleasant viewing experience for you or for your students. But thankfully, Studio has a way to mirror a YouTube video and strip out all the suggested videos, the ad tracking, some other noise that comes along with YouTube videos, and puts those in a nice, clean experience so that you and your students can watch the video from YouTube, but inside the video player in Studio for a much more pleasant experience, I think. So to mirror a YouTube video and add it into Studio, the first step is to find the YouTube video that you want to use. So you just browse youtube.com and find the video you want to use. And then below the video player, click on the share button. And then from there, you just want to copy the URL of the video. And then if you click back to your Studio library page and then click the add button in the corner, then you have the option to paste the YouTube URL right into this field here, and then the next step is to click add. So now the YouTube video is now mirrored inside of Studio, and I can use it in any of my courses just like the other media that I've created. So it has the title, it has the duration, and it has the thumbnail, and I can tell that this is a YouTube video because it kind of puts the little red YouTube player indicator right beside the video itself. All right, so when building content inside your courses, keeping all audiences with various abilities in mind is important, and media is certainly no exception. It's important to make sure that all Studio media has closed captioning available, and it's actually easier than you think. So let's take a look at what that looks like. From the Studio library page, you hover your mouse over top of the video you want to add captions for, and you click the View button. In my example, I'm going to use the webcam recording that I recorded earlier. And then from the tabs below the video player, I'm going to click on Captions. Studio offers the ability to submit your media to automatically generate captions. As with YouTube's auto-generated captions, Studio claims to have an accuracy of around 85%. Personally, I've found Studio's auto-generated captions to be way more accurate than YouTube's. But as with most things, your mileage may vary. You may have a greater accuracy if you speak slowly and clearly. So as you're recording, just keep some of those pieces in mind. The first step is to select the language that is spoken in the video. So there's a drop-down menu right here with a list of languages. Since my webcam recording was spoken in English, I picked English from the list, and then I click on the request button, and that will process the request itself. If you already have a caption file provided by a third-party vendor of some kind, you can even upload that right to the video itself. So if your college is using a captioning service to professionally caption or transcribe those videos, you can upload those files right to Studio, and that will do the same thing. After the request to generate captions has been initiated, it's placed in a queue. And depending on how long the media is, it may take a while to process those captions in the queue. So there's an indicator on screen here that says queued, and you don't need to keep the browser open and wait for it to finish. You'll actually get an email from Canvas that lets you know once the captions are ready for your review. And then you can either click on the link in the email to come back to this page, or you can come back later on your own to take a look at it. After the captions have been processed, again, you can click on the link in the email, or you can just come back to the video itself, and now you'll see a new button here that says Review and Publish. The next screen shows the words that Studio has identified and processed inside the video, and now they're ready for me to review them and make any corrections. To correct the captions, you can click the play button at the top to listen to the video, and then you can match the words that are spoken with what is showing up down below. And you can fix any typos or errors, punctuation, acronyms, things like that. As you're correcting the captions, your changes are saved automatically in real time, so you don't have to make the corrections all at once. You can process a couple minutes of the captions, and then if you have to skip away to do something else or come back later, all the changes that you made are automatically saved. So that's nice. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. After you've corrected the captions, you can click on the green button here to publish them, and that will kind of save the captions into the video itself. There is a movie reference here that I'm going to give someone bonus points if they know what that is, but it's just me being silly in my video, so I'll just leave that there. After the captions are published, you can click on the close caption button, which is here in the video player, and you'll see the option to turn on the captions for the language that you selected in the video. So when you click on English and then click play, when the video is playing, you'll see the captions appear along the top of the screen. So a third and final activity tonight is for you to request captions for your webcam recording, correct them, and then publish them. As a recap, from the Studio Library page, you click View on your webcam recording that you did a few minutes ago. You click on the Captions tab, you pick the spoken language, and then request the auto-generated captions. And then after they've been generated, you make any corrections and then click the Publish button to save the changes. I'm going to start a 3-minute timer. If the caption request doesn't process in the next 3 minutes for this activity, it's okay. You can come back and finish that later, but I just wanted to set you in motion for the process itself and let you help you become more familiar with that. Again, one last reminder, if you are still in full screen mode with Zoom, you can click the escape key or press the escape key on your keyboard, and that will let you navigate to another web browser tab to complete the activity. Okay, 3 more minutes, starting now. Okay, time's up. That was 3 minutes. I hope you had a chance to go through the activity and request some captions and publish those to your webcam video. All right, next we're going to take a look at embedding Studio Media into the rich content editor in Canvas. So we'll start by clicking on the dashboard in the left global navigation menu. And I'm going to just open up my Sandbox course since we're practicing things tonight. And now I'm going to click on the announcements area in the course menu, and then I'm going to click on the plus announcement button to create a new announcement. So this screen should look fairly familiar. We have the toolbar at the top. This is called the Rich Content Editor. It's just the formatting toolbar that lets you insert and format and style text and other elements inside the item itself. At the top, we have a field to enter a title for the announcement itself. So I'm just going to keep the same title as my video that I created a few minutes ago. And now in the Rich Content Editor, I'm going to click on the Studio button to launch that tool. After clicking on the Studio button, it will load a screen with all of your Studio library content there. You can click on the Record button to record a new screen capture recording, a new web capture recording. You can click on the Add button to upload a media file from your computer or mirror a YouTube URL. So you've got all those controls right there inside the Rich Content Editor. In addition to adding all that content kind of on the fly, you can also select an existing media item that's already in your Studio library. So to select a video, you can hover your mouse over top of one that you want to use, and then you click the Select button. After seeing the Studio item, after selecting the Studio item, there are a few options to choose from. The first one is to allow comments. This defaults to on, although it may not be always useful for students to allow comments on your media inside the course. I personally tend to turn that option off. And then the other option is to display a download button on your Studio Media so that you can let students download the media to their device and view it offline if they're in a bandwidth constrained environment. And here's an example of maybe uploading a more flattering thumbnail image for the video itself. And then once you've made all your changes in the options, you can click the Embed button in the corner. After selecting the media that you want to use, it will show the embedded media inside the Rich Content Editor. You can play it back, you can adjust the playback speed, or you can turn on closed captioning right from here. But don't forget to click Save at the bottom of the announcements page. At least that's what I'm using in my example to lock in the changes and save that part. Okay, the last topic I'm going to cover tonight, today is to use analytics, or a way to look at data and see who's watching your Studio Media and for how long. From the Studio Library screen, click on the View button to open up one of the media items that you've added into a course. That's the important piece. You have to, in order to see the analytics data, you have to pick an item that was added inside a course. So from here, you've got the media playback screen. There is a drop-down menu up above it, and the default location is My Library, but if you've added the media into a course, you'll see the name of the course also show up in that drop-down menu, and that's the option you want to choose when looking at the analytic data. From the list of tabs below the media player, click on Insights, and then this will show how many times your media has been viewed. It will also show how long someone has watched the media, and then it has a list of students or users that are inside that course that viewed that item. Clicking on a student's name will show their individual analytics for the media. So in this example, the student has watched the entire video from start to finish, and they watched it a single time. In this example, the student only watched the video for about 5 seconds, but again, they only watched it a single time. So after about 5 seconds, they stopped watching, and there's no data that shows they watched the rest of that video. And in this last example here, this student watched the first second or so of the video, and then they skipped all the way to the end and watched the ending part of it. But again, only watched it a single time. So, I mean, this is a great example. Like, isn't data wonderful? The data is helpful because it can help identify videos or even sections of a video that may show students are skipping over or rewatching over and over again. And if you find that students are rewatching or skipping over sections, that may help identify opportunities for you to review a specific topic or focus more time on when you speak to your students next, or create and provide supplemental instruction to help support that part of the video. But this is data that's valuable, and it lets you analyze it in a way that you can better support your students. So now, with your newfound knowledge of Canvas Studio, here are just a few examples of how you can use what you've learned to support and enhance your online courses. You can create a video announcement, something that's interactive. We already looked at how easy that can be using the webcam recording. Instead of typing out text for your announcement, you can record just a quick webcam capture video and record the same information that you would have otherwise typed out. You can use a class introduction discussion. You know, a lot of us use those kind of icebreaker activities at the beginning of the semester. You could use that with video. And instead of typing out your introduction discussion, you could use video, and then you'd have a series of video discussions from all your students, and you can, you know, see them and hear from them in a way that you may not be able to in the current landscape. You can mirror YouTube videos to strip out suggested videos, ad tracking, and other kind of video playback clutter. You can create training videos, demonstrations, and voiceover PowerPoints. You can provide video feedback in the SpeedGrader, which we didn't have time to look at tonight, but there's an option if you're using Google Chrome in the SpeedGrader. When you're giving feedback, there's a little video button where you can actually record a webcam recording and give feedback in video form to your students. And another item we didn't have a chance to cover, you can create video quizzes that will actually take a video and let you embed questions in the timeline so that your students can watch a video, and then they'll have a question that pops up on screen, and they all get tied back to the grade book, and they can, you know, replay a section of the video so that they can answer the question or review a topic if they have trouble with it. That's a really powerful tool that maybe we can cover another time. So these are all great examples of things that you can utilize in your online courses today, and make your courses, you know, step it up to the next level, I guess. We have a bunch of resources listed here. If there's a topic that you'd like to explore or revisit, we'll make sure that the slide deck is included with the webinar recording, so that all you have to do is click on one of these links, and it will take you to the appropriate resources. But this will, again, just help support your newfound knowledge of using Studio, and each one of these has a resource attached to it that you can learn more or follow up. We value your feedback big time. Please, if you would, take about 2 minutes to fill out the brief survey at the URL on the screen. One of our chat facilitators will put the link in the chat for you to access and easily just click on. If you are watching the recording of this session, please pause the video and type in the URL into your browser, and then come back and play the rest of the recording. The feedback in this survey will help inform the VCCS ELEC committee on how we can continue to create meaningful and valuable professional development to support online learning. I very much appreciate your time and attention for this webinar. If you have questions about using Studio, reach out to the Canvas administrator on your campus or your ELEC committee representative. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and until next time, bye-bye.